Hey, it's Jeff Chan here, and I'm outside of Aiemann Zahabi's house. Aimann's got a fight lined up with UFC Montreal this May, and he's fighting Jose Aldo. I'm lucky enough to get to spend the day with him, where I'll get a sense of his routine during fight camp, and we're gonna be chatting about his journey to the UFC.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, good morning, man.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
How'd you start your morning?
It was good. Well, I just woke up. Yeah, I got to sleep in a little bit today. Usually I take the kids to school, but today's sparring day, so my wife made me a favor, gave me an extra 30 minutes.
So, Aiemann, we met way back at TriStar when I was training for my one championship debut.
Actually, before that.
Was it before that?
Yeah, you came to help me for camp.
Oh, yeah. Since then, I've never fought again. But you, on the other hand, you've become this rising UFC star. You're on a 5-fight win streak. Big win against Munoz.
Yeah.
And now you're fighting Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
When I found out, I was so stoked. I'm still stoked.
Yeah.
And I'm just super excited for you and super happy for you. How are you feeling about it?
I feel great. I feel fantastic. You know, I feel like for me it's a great opportunity, but I feel like there's no way I can lose in a sense. If I lose the actual fight, it's not the end of the world, fighting Jose Aldo. So it kind of brings up my mindset where, I just have to go out there and do my best, which is the spot you always kind of want to be in.
Honest question.
Yeah.
How confident are you going into this fight? I know you're good, but this is Jose Aldo. How confident are you in it?
I feel pretty good. Actually,
Yeah?
I feel pretty confident. I started working with a mindset coach. I had never felt so comfortable before the fight.
Well, anyways, I have no doubt that you and Firas are going to come up with a strategic plan and come back with the win.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know what's funny is that over the time, because I started training at TriStar when I was in high school. So I got in high school like 13. I got to see like the generation before me also as well, right? So I got to see like GSP, David Loiseau, and so many others. And I got to see how their careers went from 13 to 20. And then I started going pro, I think I was 22. I got to see like two different generations, now I'm like my third generation. So the common thing I see throughout the three, the training itself is not the hardest part. Because like training is rough, especially when you're getting ready for a fight, That's not so bad because you have a coach, you have a nutritionist, you have all these different things that really guide you. But to really make it to the top, the most important thing is establishing an ecosystem of support. You have to have your family on the same page, you have to have your friends on the same page, you have to have your coaches and everyone being there to support you. You need sponsors to help withstand the financial hardship.
How do I open the door?
Push the handle.
How long of a drive is it to the gym?
Normally it's half an hour. Yeah? Usually at 9, it takes me 45 minutes to an hour because of traffic, but for some reason there's no traffic today. It's your lucky day. Yo, what's up, baby? How are you? How long are you new to the answer? How I got into UFC, I had won 6 straight fights in a row. And I got them all by finish. And that's what the UFC and Sean Shelby and those guys, that's what they want the most. The most important thing is that you're a finisher outside of the UFC because they know that your finish rate will drop once in the UFC because now you're playing with all the big boys. So they're always looking for killers. And Sean Shelby actually reached out to Firas, said, hey, send me your brother. It's time. I'm sure it kind of put me on the map, but like I was telling you guys earlier, having Firas as my brother helps me get noticed, but I also was cornering a lot of guys in UFC, so they always saw me backstage. I was cornering David Loiseau, I cornered Yves Jabouin, Miguel Torres, WEC champion, I cornered him a bunch of times in the UFC. So I always kind of knew the UFC staff, so I was kind of on the radar in a way because I was already always there, and they knew I was fighting. All the guys I coached always spoke up highly about me, even GSP would drop my name and be like, Aimann's like the future of TriStar. So my brother helped, but also my teammates that I helped get ready for fights, they also helped push my name out there as well. Yeah, if I didn't have Firas, I don't know if I'd make it as far as I did, for a lot of reasons. One is, Firas is the type of coach who's always learning, never coasts on what he knows. He doesn't think, I know it all, and I'm just gonna teach my program, and my program's the best. He's always learning from the new guys, who are like the new superstars, the new skill sets that are coming out. He's staying on the cutting edge of wrestling, grappling, striking, And because he's always growing, the team is always growing. So it's nice to have a coach that's like that. And he's also super dedicated into my career. I don't think I'd ever have a coach be as dedicated to me as my own brother would be, right? So he sacrifices a lot for me to make it. And he's a huge reason of why I've reached the heights I have. That's a very good question. How much of a percentage would I give to the fighter versus the coach? It's a very tough question to answer, man, because in the end, you're right, you have to do the work. It's like going to university. You can have a great professor, but if you don't do any of the work outside of the class, you're never gonna make it anyway. Right? I would say it's like a 50-50 partnership. As much as a coach gives you have to give back. You have to be there for the classes and be consistent in training all the time. But if you don't give your 100% and your coach gives 100%, you ain't making it. People always ask me, did you feel a lot of pressure that you had to make it because Firas is the coach? I felt a lot of that pressure early on in my career, but now I've come to the realization and it doesn't even matter, man. A lot of the greats in other sports, their sons never really made it. Like Jordan's sons, I don't think they ever made the NBA. I guess it doesn't do anything bad for my brother's career if I never made it, but it definitely helps if I do, right? So I wish I only looked at it from an upside, and I wasn't too hard on myself too early. But my brother was never hard on me, which was nice. You know, he knew it didn't really matter. But I'm happy that now with my success, I get to contribute to his success.
So today was Friday, hard sparring. How many hard sparring sessions do you do a week?
Each week I do about 2 hard sparrings, one on Tuesday, one on Friday.
How many light sparrings, if there is any?
3 light sparrings a week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And by light sparring, I mean like almost no contact. It's basically shadow boxing like with a partner. So you need to increase your coordination overall. And when you're going hard sparring, there's more of like a fight or flight response. Like you're kind of forcing it sometimes, or sometimes you're doing things, you're messing them up because of the stress of the impact. Whereas in light sparring, there's less of the stress because you know your partner won't clock you and put you down. Even though they won't do that in sparring either, but there's less chance.
So you're saying hard sparring is truly important if you want to fight?
If you want to be at top level, you have to spar at some point. Even all the guys in UFC, at one point there was an era of guys who said they don't spar. Then they started losing, then they started sparring again. Max Holloway's one of the more famous ones. Once he restarted sparring, all of a sudden he's back on top.
What are your thoughts on CTE?
I think in MMA, it's more the exception than the rule. I feel like it's more prevalent in boxing because in boxing, in 12-round fight, you might absorb 300 strikes, maybe 200 to the head, 100 to the body. Average MMA fight, 3 rounds of 5 minutes, you're getting like 60 strikes absorbed, which is not a lot. And we don't have the 10 count. So if you go down in MMA, the guy can finish you, fight's over. In boxing, you go down, you get an 8 count, then you can go again, you get another concussion, you get to go again, you might get dropped 3-4 times in a fight, you don't know. And plus, a lot of the time in MMA, you're wrestling, you're up against a fence, some kicks to the leg, some body shots, you know, there's not too much head damage overall. And our TriStar is known for having great defense. So a lot of the guys that I saw before me, like George St. Pierre, a lot of these guys, they don't have CTE. Like they run perfectly good businesses outside, they're well spoken still.
Well, thank you for the hard rounds. You ready for lunch?
I can't wait, man. It's steak time, baby.
So this is a fancy restaurant?
Yeah, I like this place. Great restaurant near the gym. You know, it's a nice little treat after a hard week of training. Come on Wednesdays maybe, or on Fridays. Come have a nice steak, break up the week.
So you eat well then?
Yeah, man. You listen, I used to eat McDonald's in between practice. It changes over time, you know. You start off, you can't make it, you don't have any money to buy nice food, and now when you start having some money, you get to splurge a little bit, get to enjoy life. It's funny, my daughters, they know what I do for sure, and we always watch the fight when I get back. And so far I've been winning, so it's been easy. I had a funny conversation with one of them. My daughter Aliyah goes, she's like, oh, so daddy, a lot of people want to see you win, right? I'm like, well, this time around, the guy I'm fighting this time, people around the world love him. And my daughter's like, they love him more than you? I'm like, I know, can you believe it? Can you believe it? I love the idea of outclassing somebody in a fight, the art of war, you know? Can I go out there and force him to fight out of his weakness instead of his strengths? I like the gamesmanship of it. I really enjoy that, you know? There's no better feeling than outplaying someone, and it's something that I've spent a lot of my time in, so it's the game I know the most. So for me, that's really my why, and it's something that it challenges you physically, mentally, and spiritually, because sometimes you're behind and you gotta come out, you gotta make it up. It's really like a great way to have the full human experience. You have to have the fire to want to be the best. It's hard to be the best when you're just getting into something like the UFC. You know, you're not necessarily the best now because you have to go through so many experiences to literally be the best. So you have to have the hunger of being the best. I feel like that's the better thing to say. Even on my 2-fight losing streak, I kept that burning fire. Even when everyone counted me out, that's what kept me going. So you need the desire to be the best. You know, my confidence comes from competence. I'm a good problem solver in the fights. I have a lot of years of training experience with a huge variety of guys. So I've seen a lot of the different styles throughout my career. So I build my confidence on my repertoire, what I can do, and knowing that I prepare physically, mentally, and emotionally to be able to withstand whatever onslaught my opponent's gonna bring fight day. Now I'm fighting one of the greatest fighters of all time, Jose Aldo. And one thing that makes me believe that I can beat him is that I paid my dues. Like I've done everything right, and I feel like I'm capable and I have the tool set and the ability to apply what needs to be done to beat Aldo on that night. The most important thing is you gotta be consistent and you gotta build an ecosystem. Like you have your family support, your friends support, and if the people who are around you now don't support you, you have to replace them with people who believe in your dream. Like if you really believe that you wanna quit everything to do it, you have to commit 100%, and the people around you have to be committed with you because you're not gonna make it alone. I know in the cage you fight alone, but you'll never make it to the UFC at the #1 spot, fight for the belt alone. It takes an ecosystem, it takes my friends, it takes my family, it takes my brother, it takes all these people who are behind me to devote time that you can't pay them with dollars the amount of value they give you in your life if they really believe in you. So you can't buy that kind of support. So you have to create it. You have to surround yourself with the people who are gonna go above and beyond for you, and that's really gonna help you out.